What's going on, y'all? What up, Joe? What up, Joe? Welcome to the Poe Report. Welcome to the Poe Report. And right now we have in the building a Hollywood legend. When I want to say he started his career in the early 70s with Dirty Harry to Poltergeist. And now he 40 years later, now he's on Tyler Perry's Beauty and Black. And I want y'all to give it up for Hollywood's own Richard Lawson. What's going on, brother?
Hey, thank you.
You know, I hope that was a great introduction, man. I kind of coming up on.
It was a great introduction.
Okay, all right.
The only thing I would correct is that it is 60 years in the business.
60. I'm sorry about that. 60 years in the business. Matter of fact, I would love to start it over then, man.
No, don't start it over. It's like, no, it's cool. It's just, it's 1969 is when I got into this business.
Okay, 1969. I'm sorry about that, sir.
Hey, it happens.
It happens, huh? So let me know who is Richard Lawson?
Wow, that's a hell of a question there. Who is Richard Lawson? I'm a lot of things, man. I cannot say I'm one thing. I can tell you that what I am clear about is why I'm here, why I'm in this business, and why really I'm on this planet. And then that feeds into what I do and everything else I do, And so, my whole purpose here is my assignment, I should say. I had a revelation when, actually in 1969, when, really God spoke to me and said, hey, you're on this earth to be an actor, and through your work as an actor, I want you to be able to help people to achieve their dreams. And so therefore, I am of service to helping people to achieve their dreams, especially young people. I've mentored, at one point I was mentoring 100 young people, and there's nothing greater in the world than helping young people to realize that they can see beyond their zip code. And so I would say that at the baseline, I'm here to be of service.
Okay.
Heartwarming. Love that.
Thank you.
So it looks like, you have a long career, respected this game. How have you in this industry?
Your phone's breaking up a little bit. Could you hear that?
Could you? You can't hear me?
It was breaking up just a tad. Repeat your question again.
How about, can you hear me now?
Yes.
And you have such a long, respected career. Okay, that sounds better. What's been the key to your longevity in this industry?
Being clear about my purpose, which is my North Star, so that, by the fact that I've always been very clear about what that path is, that I'm less likely to be thrown off. Stops are only detours. There's no stops. There are no losses. There's only lessons. There's wins and lessons. That because I have this GPS, which always has a destination to it, that at best I just get rerouted. No matter how big the obstacle is, I just reroute around it, over it, through it, under it. That, like water, nothing can stop water. And so it's like I just have to reshape, process, pivot, and proceed. And so therefore I'm always on path to my destination, and knowing that because my purpose is strong, my opposition is going to be equal. So I'm going to run into the walls that are equal to the thing that I desire. And I'm prepared for that. I'm down for that. You know,
I love that. Okay, great. So no obstacle can be
no,
you
no,
put in
no,
your place.
none, none. No one is strong enough to do that except
That's
myself
right.
and God.
So we'll also talk about your early life. So I see you served in the United States Army as a medic, 21 months in Vietnam. Let's talk about that. How did
Well, I was in Vietnam for 11 months.
11 months?
11 months and 2 weeks.
Okay.
And I was in the service for 1 year, 9 months, 7 days, 15 hours, 42 minutes, and 32 seconds.
Is that you have it timed like that because it was brutal, or you had
The-
enjoyed your time?
well, brutal, yes, because I was in Vietnam and I was a medic in Vietnam. So the stuff I saw, you can't unsee. And, you know, and as a medic, you know, out in the boonies, I saw some stuff that you will never, you would have to be in a third world country like right now, Iran, you know, the
Uh-huh,
bombs
uh-huh.
and the devastation of people and human beings and bodies and lives. You know, I dealt with all that. I saw the human body in pieces and in parts, and you know, and certain things that you know you would never ever see in this
Never want
country.
to see. Yeah. With you as a
And
medic, I'm sure you've seen a lot.
I've seen a lot. One of the you know the toughest of all was seeing a woman who was 9 months pregnant who had taken a bullet that went almost through her navel, and she had no exit wound. So that means the bullet got stopped by something inside, which was the baby,
Ah,
and that there was no way. She was Vietnamese, and there was nothing that I could do to help her. There were no hospitals. I couldn't take her anywhere because we were in the middle of a conflict,
ah,
and it was a helpless situation. So you know, stuff like that you know, just one of hundreds and hundreds of different things that I could share, but I'm not going to. But
right.
it's like what that does is that it makes you a stronger person. It makes you understand humanity, and it makes you appreciate life, and it makes you want to make sure that the dash is everything. Born day, born March 7th, 1947 dash. I don't have a deceased date, but you know, this being April 20th, 21st, whatever it is, from
22nd.
22nd. So from April 22nd dash, don't know what that date is, but I gotta make sure that I fill that dash
That
up,
dash. Yes,
because
absolutely.
time is the only account that you never know what the balance is.
Definitely true. Wow. That's a powerful story there. That's wow.
So,
Yeah.
so different things that you did see in Vietnam. Do you have nightmares about it, or has it affected you in any way?
No, it's only empowered me. You
Okay.
know, um, it's an interesting thing that the one thing that you know, when I went to Ghana and I stood in the dungeons of the Cape Coast Castle, they call it a castle, but it's really where the enslaved Africans would be taken through this, herded in there, and while they waited on the next boat from Spain, England, France, wherever,
Oh,
whoever was
wow.
transporting the enslaved people to the Americas. And interestingly enough, the majority of the enslaved people went to South America as opposed to North America. They went all over from South America all the way up to America, but the majority of them went south, right? And then in the West Indies and stuff. But I had just learned that I was 30% Ghanaian, Nigerian and 20% Ghanaian. So I realized I was standing on my own DNA in that dungeon. I know that some of my people went through that dungeon. And then when I came back, it gave me a whole nother source of inspiration and understanding of my resilience that was in my blood. In order to be able to travel and to make that journey, and then to become enslaved in this country, and then to see my great-grandfather buy himself out of slavery. And then
buy himself out of slavery. How do you buy yourself out of slavery?
He saved his money. He had a value. He was worth X number of dollars as a slave based upon what he did. And he saved his money and he bought himself out of slavery. And then he went back and bought his brothers and sisters out because he became a landlord.
Powerful.
Sharecropping. And so understanding that I came from that stock, my ability to withstand and to overcome and the resiliency of that became ever more clear to me. So I really did understand the concept of process, pivot, and proceed. And also the fact that you have to have radical acceptance, the ability to take chicken shit and turn it into chicken salad.
I like that.
Yeah, so I'm born with that. It's in my blood. So therefore, I can take trauma and turn it into jewels, so that I can pass it on to other people. And the beautiful thing, as an artist, I'm able to put that into my character. So I know you guys eventually gonna talk about Norman, but you see, Norman, me be able to play Norman, I just call upon. I call upon my experience from all the stuff I've experienced in my life, and
that's where it comes from. Okay.
When Norman looks at your ass and say, before he strikes that match to blow you up, it's coming from that place.
I've always wondered where did that come from, because there's a lot of emotion going on with Norman.
There's a lot of emotion, but as an artist, being an artist really is kind of, I my ex-wife told me, that I was suffering from PTSD, and she's probably, but the point is that my PTSD is I borrow that to the characters that I play. So therefore, I'm able to find depths of emotion for the characters that if I didn't have those experiences, then I might not have been able to make the same depths of truth.
Yeah, you do see a lot of people that come from like the Vietnam Wars, dealing with the PTSD. So it's funny that you were recognized as that, but you don't claim it. You're not claiming it.
Yeah.
Is that right?
No, I don't claim it. I don't claim it. The most dangerous thing, the thing that concerns me the most is not PTSD, is PTNN.
What's that?
Explain that one.
Post-traumatic negative niggas.
That's real.
PTSNN.
So
PTNN, post-traumatic negative niggas.
That's crazy.
I'm still in that.
so speaking of Vietnam, so you were young when you went to Vietnam. You had to be in your teens.
I was 21 when I was in Vietnam. My 21st birthday was in Vietnam, and we were in a firefight, and that's the only day that I was afraid to die. I did not want to die on my 21st birthday.
Okay.
That was the only time that I was fearful. Other than when I first arrived there, the first week or so was because it was acclimating, you know,
Uh-huh.
in the bullets and all of that. That was like, it was a shock. But once
Whole
I
new
got over
world.
the initial shock, then it was like, you know, it was cool.
Man, you better than me. As soon as I seen that, I would have been like, listen, I'd rather go to jail. I don't want to go to war. I'd rather go to a cell. You can put me in the cell, but I don't want to do this.
Oh
Hey,
no.
People get,
You go to jail because you go to jail if you quit the army. I mean, if you don't want to go to war,
yeah,
right? Yeah. I'd rather sit in the cell.
yeah.
As soon as I see somebody shot, I said I'll take my chances in the prison.
Yeah. I was with a friend of mine, and we went to Bangkok, Thailand for R&R, and they give you a week off, and you can go wherever you want to go. And
Okay.
so we went to Bangkok, Thailand, and so there was these bank of phones that the military could go to, and you stood in line, and there were all these booths, like phone booths. You can go sit in that phone booth and call home, right?
Yeah.
So I went, and my boy was with me, and I went to the phone booth, and I called home, and and I talked to my mother and my sister and my family and stuff. And then he got in there and left the door open, and he says, "Yeah, baby, I'm calling you just to tell you that I'm not coming back. You can take the house in your name. Tell my family I love them, and I just have to tell you that I'm not coming back. I found a girl here, and I'm gonna go live with her up in North Thailand." And I'm listening to this, and I'm saying, "What? Wait, hold up, man. Are you your mind?" He said, "No, man, I ain't going back to Vietnam. Shit, I ain't gonna be a statistic in the number." And that was the last day I saw him. And he
Really?
found this girl. He had found this girl. You go to the club, and there's like 50 women in there, and they all got a number. And it's like, you go to Mama San and say, "Mama San, number 25." And Mama San go over to girl number 25, and she brings you over, and and
So a true meat market.
yeah, and you pay Mama San, and then she's yours for the night, right? And that's how he found her.
Oh, so she was a whore.
She was a working professional.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Okay, all right, yeah, all right.
No, I mean, she was a working professional.
She had bills to pay. Okay?
You know what I mean? It's like, the garbage man, that's old and antiquated, It's like rubbish professionals, rubbish engineers, you see.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wow. So he saved her, I guess, from that lifestyle, hopefully.
Well,
she
you
saved
don't
him.
even know. You don't know what happened in that relationship. You feel me?
Do not know, because when she took him home and her family saw him, it's like, hey, if the shit go wrong, you on your own, buddy.
Yeah, that's a big risk.
Crazy.
That's a risk. Wow.
Yeah.
So on a Hollywood tip, so you started your career in the 70s, right? In where the early 70s? Well, 69. I'm sorry, 69. And you've seen a lot of things that went on in Hollywood. Looking at Hollywood now, what is the biggest lie in the industry that you had to unlearn the hard way, basically?
Well, I've always had a very different mindset. I learned very early on that Hollywood didn't see me the way that I saw me. So I couldn't depend on Hollywood to take care of me.
Right.
I needed to be able to create my own.
Mm-hmm.
I needed to be able to originate my own career in Hollywood. It would come if it came. And so I never depended upon Hollywood. But what I understood by creating my own was that I was not stopped by anything. So today, this right here
Mm-hmm.
changed the game.
Mm-hmm.
So people started making their own movies, and you can do a whole feature film from this right here.
Right.
Whereas
Right.
before, you had to depend on them. And when that came along, you didn't have to depend on anybody anymore. And I never did depend on Hollywood.
Right.
So the one thing that I didn't have to relearn was the fact that I wasn't enough. If you didn't understand being independent and doing your own thing, then you had to stand in line and hope that you get chosen.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
which led to a lot of bitterness because, people, brothers that I knew well were friends of mine, and we would sit around and commiserate, and it would be, yeah, man, if I was white, I could do this and I could do that, I could have been a contender, and blah, blah, blah. And it's like,
Yeah. Yeah.
fuck that. I ain't interested in telling them kind of stories. I don't want to sit around and complain. I want to get active and create my own stuff, use my own imagination, and build my own. And I've always been that way. So the thing that I didn't have to unlearn was the brainwashing that came with thinking that I had to depend on them for my future.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have to unlearn that. A lot of people have to unlearn that,
Within the last 10 years or 15, 20 years, would you say people had to kind of unlearn that? When like the iPhone came about, that's when people was like, I can pretty much do my own thing. You can create the movies on the iPhone and all
yeah,
that.
but before the iPhone, it was like you can still shoot your own film. You just have to find a way to distribute it. The rap game told us how shit goes.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't have distribution. They were selling CDs out the back of their trunk.
Right.
And then pretty soon, Hollywood came along and said, "Oh, wait a minute, those people making money out the back of their trunk. Maybe we should get in this game and own a little bit." You know what I mean? And so, yeah, 20 years ago, before that, I was doing my own theater. I was teaching it. I was involved with other people who were independent thinkers. And now it's come back to this because now I'm in the vertical filmmaking game where you scroll on your phone to get the next episode of this thing. As a matter of fact, today I'm looking at Tay Diggs's his vertical film, and that he just put out. He was one of the first mainstream actors to put it on.
Okay.
And now I'm creating my own platform. I have about 30 different projects in terms of vertical, and I'm in the vertical game now. I have a movie coming out called Married to the Wrong Guy. I'm getting ready to go to Cannes and do a master's class on vertical filmmaking, and also pitching my own script that me and my team wrote. It's not about depending on anything. Hollywood would never stop. I ain't got no complaints. I understood what the game was from the very beginning, and I knew I didn't have time to complain. I knew I had to
about it.
I had to go out there and make it for myself, because if you want it, you better go get it.
Go get it. Yeah. That's what, yeah. And you did that.
Man,
For sure.
you have a nice smile, Coco.
Yeah.
What's that?
You have a very nice smile. You're very pretty.
Oh, thank you so much, Richard. I appreciate it.
So all right. So the black exploitation era. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So for the blacks, I'm trying to say it right. The black
Black
exploitation.
exploitation.
Black
Yeah,
exploitation.
yeah. Do you think that was a moment of liberation for black people, or just another box like Hollywood tried to just put it y'all in?
Well, that period of time gave a lot of actors a chance to learn about being filmmakers and actors on film.
Yeah.
A lot of people got hired. And so you can look at it, depends on which way you want to look at it.
Right.
You can look at the material and say, man, not the greatest material in the world. Everybody, had that hat cocked to the side, gangster lean, you know what I mean? And then, yeah, man, talk with them funny voices and shit like I'm a drug dealer, pimp, popsicle pimp, blah, blah, blah. Those roles. And I understood that I didn't want to play those kind of roles. I wanted to be number one on the call sheet, and it took me 3 years just to become number one on the call sheet in a film originally called Bogart, and then later changed to Black Fist. And so I was the star of that movie in short order. And so blaxploitation had an upside. The downside is the fact that most people Melvin Van People started the whole thing with Sweet Badass Song. That was the first independent film that a black man did, right? And that wasn't the first, but it was the first of that era, because before him, Oscar Michaud and other people who made their films. But he started it and showed people that it can be done outside of Hollywood. And then as other filmmakers started making their own, and then a lot of, white people and Jews who wrote those scripts and they owned the projects and stuff, and it was targeted for black audiences. Yeah, there was some, you could say that there were people who took advantage. But then there was a lot of directors and a lot of actors who worked and had the opportunity to work, would have never otherwise had that opportunity. And a lot of people learned how to become film actors from that. And an interesting detail is that all the black films that were done, and all the films about people that were done through the 70s, 80s, and 90s, none of them lost money. It wasn't until almost the year 2000 that a black film actually lost money.
Wait a minute. How come they didn't lose money back then?
Because the budgets were so low that after distribution and everything, they made their money back. They didn't make a lot of money, but they all made their money.
They may kind of break even, pretty much.
Yeah. Well, again, with some of them more than break even.
More than break.
Williamson was doing his films. He took his films overseas and he would sell it on market by market. So he would go to like the French market and he would sell it to the French market, and he'd sell it to the German market, he'd sell it to various markets, and that's the way that he made his money, because he sold it off piecemeal rather than with one seller who then made an international deal. And at the time, they were telling black folks for up until the Black Panther that black films don't make money overseas, which is a bunch of bullshit.
Speaking of that, how do you feel about the actors that they're getting from overseas that are coming to play, take over the Americans, taking over their roles, and they're giving it to people from London, per se, and not
unless you're producing the film as your money, then it ain't your role.
It ain't your role.
If you don't put up the money, then you can say. And yes, a lot of the English actors were getting a lot of parts that would have otherwise gone to. And the thing is, I don't get upset with that. I figure out how can I get around that? How can I beat that?
That's how you do
That's
it. That's
what I'm trying to get around. You know, I'm always trying to figure out, you know, what is the game? Let me get me up on game and let me figure out how I can beat that game. If I can't beat it, then it's on me.
That's
It's on me.
right.
I can't blame nobody.
Okay.
Love that. Love that attitude. Yes.
What you got for him, Keish?
So I know you were talking about the vertical movies that you made earlier. How did so I know you got the Richard Lawson Studios? Is that something that you're teaching people out of your Richard Lawson Studios how to make the vertical movies? Is that
Yes. So that the
okay?
film that I'm going to be pitching in Cannes, it's called The Third Act. And the thing about The Third Act is that that started in my advanced class where I took the six people and we sat down and said, okay, the concept of this is that we're going to start from scratch, come up with an idea, and then the story, and then write the story, and then develop the story, and then go into pre-production. And we are going to go from the seed to the harvest. So we're at the point now where I'm taking this script and I'm going to pitch it my film was chosen as one of 15 other films to pitch in front of a room full of producers and studios to see who wins this pitch and that we would get funded as a film. So the concept is that we take this from beginning all the way to the end, and that's out of my studio, that one particular project. Now, all the other stuff, so we have about 30 some verticals, and we have 5 feature films. And so it is my production company, along with my partner, Janae Busby. We have this platform that we're building, and we're going to be distributing the vertical films and producing the long form or feature films.
Now, is this something I just gotta ask this crazy question? When you say like distributing it, like I know like at Sundance Studio, like I've heard of that, like or Sundance Film, is that where you would possibly try to pitch it at, or does it make it to like something like that, or how does that work?
Well, it can. I can, you know, you can take it to other film festivals. The thing about Cannes is that it's the creme de la creme. So you have
Okay.
to say you pitched it at Cannes means that you pitched it from the mountaintop.
Okay. Gotcha.
But the point that is most important is not only to pitch it, but to do the business of it and find people who are interested in it, want to partner with you, put some money up to produce it, and then get it done. The platform for the verticals is that right now we would sign a distribution deal with one of the platforms like, you know, Real Shorts or like Flex TV or one of those, and they would house our product on there, and we have a distribution deal. The ideal thing is to build our own app and take in content and starting with our own and then other people's content. And then people would come to our app and look at that.
What you've done.
Yeah, what I've done in the stuff that I'm producing and distributing for other people, and swipe, you know.
And keep on. Now, this Richard Lawson Studios is located in Los Angeles. Is that where someone be involved? Do you do it virtually? Do you have like virtual options?
I have a. Excuse me, I didn't mean to cut.
Oh no, that's fine. You're good. I just like, do you have like virtual options, like people who are, I don't know
Yes,
if you train people that are not in the
I
same
do.
city as you. Okay.
I do. So I have a hybrid class. So
Okay. You do.
my class have asses in the seats and people people on coming in virtually.
That
So
virtually. Okay. Faces
virtually
on the screen.
yeah. So virtually I have people coming in from Dubai, from Paris,
Oh,
from
nice.
Canada,
Okay.
from Toronto, from Florida, from North Carolina, from
You're hitting all angles of the world. Okay. All
yeah,
over the
yeah, yeah.
world.
All over the world.
Worldwide.
Yeah,
Uh-huh. Okay.
exactly, exactly. So if you wanted to study, you can study with me on Thursday nights at 6 p.m. PT. And like they come in from Dubai, they're on the other side of the clock.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So you
You
really got to
know,
be dedicated, determined, if that's something that you want to do. Yeah.
hey,
Yeah.
look, you cannot if you're not dedicated and determined. My class is not for you
Not for you.
because
Like, don't.
the work ethic is just too high.
Yeah.
The
Yeah. As it should
expectation.
be. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
As it should be.
I
Because your
don't I
product.
don't want I don't want looky loos.
That's right.
I don't want amateurs.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want hobbyists.
Mm,
Somebody that takes it as a hobby. No, that's some serious shit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want people who just have a desire. I want people who can't live without
yeah, this is your
Right.
job. This is your plan A, no plan B. You got, you know what I'm saying? If you got a
Mm-hmm.
plan B, don't be
it.
here.
Hey,
It's not for you.
look, dive in, and if you, because it's equivalent to trying to swim the English Channel.
Yeah,
That ain't no joke.
yeah.
You got to struggle and you got to dig in. You can't just say, okay, I'm gonna chill. Let me roll over on my back and just float. And when you float, the current takes you somewhere that you don't even know. In order to
Mm-hmm.
cut through the current, you got to be broken with intention because you are determined to get there. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Ain't no half stepping.
Okay. What you got, Kish?
I guess the next thing, I mean, you pretty much talked about, I'm kind of curious to know, I know that you're about people with determination and, they need to be, that needs to be a focus on acting, but how do you deal with people or train people who have like, their egos, these attitudes that come in there, and their careers just kind of derail because of that. They have this big ego that they're just can't get rid of. How do you handle that? How do you train people?
Well, if you are in my studio, listen, I expect people to come in with ego. I expect people to come in with a whole lot of things. I
Hmm.
meet people where they are. And then when I get you to take a look at certain things like why are you doing this? And we take a look at, you may not know, but we will figure it out. And we ask the next question. When I ask you to fill out your dream, and write your dream out and state your dream extravagantly. Because
Hmm.
I heard TD Jakes say, uh, if your dream is not laughable, it is not worth the
Not big
paper that
enough.
it's written on. It's
Yeah,
not
I
big
think
enough.
yes, I heard that.
And
Yes.
so therefore, if your dream is big, then we figure out how to fulfill that dream. And part of that is in terms of what is your posture. First of all, it starts with what's your purpose. And then what's your posture? What is this invention? Because you got to invent your career. What does this invention look like? Who are you going to be working with? What are you going to be doing? Are you going to be doing a film? You're going to be a writer. Where do you want to live? How do you want to live? Who who
Mhm.
who do you want to be doing? Are you going to direct? Are you going to write? Do you like fashion? Do you like writing? Are you going to write a book? Once you're clear about all that, then we know. Then we will know the road that we need to take in order to get there. It ain't about what I
Mhm.
see for you, it's about what you see for you. And once you're clear about what it is you see, then you know what you have to do. And then the question is, you know, in terms of like, you know, how much energy are you going to put
Well,
to it?
into it.
You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Good
How
point.
much of your time, when you look at time, there's 168 hours in a week. You boil that down and you say, well, I got my job at X number of hours. You know, feed myself X number of hours, working out X number of hours, my religiosity X number of hours, my social life, my family life, my children, you know,
Yeah.
you figure all that stuff out, and at the end of 168 hours a week, you might wind up with 10 free hours or 20 free hours or 30 free hours. And then, so what are you doing with that time? And if you look at that whole thing, you say, well, where's the I can cut out social, I can cut out this, you know, I don't need to do as much of this, you know, and then you realize that how much space you have to work on yourself, and then the discipline that it takes in order for you to do that. You know, it's down to everything, you know, like I want to be a leading man. As a leading man, I need to look a certain way. Am I
Right.
fit like that? If I am not fit, then I got to change my diet. I got to work out on a regular basis. I have to have policies. What are your policies? Y'all at work, you got policies. You know, for you to be successful, you got policies. Time, showing up on time, certain things you got to do, and whether you do them or not, it ain't no joke. You know, it's about being serious about what it is you want. You know.
Right. Right. Okay. What you got, Silas?
All right, so I know that you said basically dreams don't have expiration dates. So what would you say to a struggling actor that's getting older and they think they missed their window of opportunity?
Marla Gibbs started acting when she was 42 years old. She didn't
Okay.
get the Jeffersons until she was like 44 or 45, and she ain't looked back since. She's 93 right now.
Say she
And
ain't looked back.
so,
Wow.
no, it's in terms of, you know, listen, you can, my whole, the movie I was telling you about, the third act, is all about people in the third act of their lives that they decide that they want to live in a certain way, and they reactivate themselves and take charge of their lives, you know, because older people just get discarded, you know, they become
Right.
inconvenient for folks.
Right.
And
Right.
so the first thing I would do is that you said a struggling actor. I've been in the business for 60 years, and that's a word that is not allowed in my vocabulary. I ain't never struggled because I was
Okay.
doing what I wanted to do. I was
Sorry about that.
challenged.
Yeah.
I was challenged, but it wasn't a struggle. That doesn't say that I didn't sleep in my car. It doesn't say that, you know, I got kicked out of my house because I couldn't pay my rent. It doesn't say any of that, but that was just that comes with the territory, because you know you're gonna be challenged. But if you stay the course and you're doing the things you need to do, you know, your season will come. You know, failure is part of that comes with the territory. Failure is just a part of it.
Part of it.
Okay.
Learning experience. Always learning from your failures.
Yeah, yeah.
And I know you said you don't believe in struggling actors, but has Richard Lawson ever got to the point where you said, "Man, I need to go out and get me a 9 to 5"?
I made sure that I didn't need to get a 9 to 5 because I made sure that I made money in the industry. So therefore, I've been teaching since 1980. So therefore, as a teacher and making sure that I was one of the best teachers and that people came and paid to come study with me, I was able to be able to take care of myself and go forward and stay in the industry that I'm in.
Okay.
I didn't have to go outside of the industry. I went one time to bartending school. And I was going to be a bartender. I went to school, I was a mixologist, and I became a pretty good one.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
Richard making
yeah,
us drinks. Right.
yeah, yeah. I'll tell you about a drink. I also have a tequila that I got coming.
Oh,
Okay, well, hey.
we gotta talk about that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's delicious. It's delicious.
Okay.
So I went to bartending school, and I went out for my first interview. And while I was on that interview, I got a beep, and I went and because you had beepers. I went and
He said a beep.
so
Ooh, that's taking it
I
back.
went I went and called my agent, who told me that I had an audition, and I went on that audition and got the job. And I never looked back in terms of being a bartender. Yeah, I was pretty good. I can make a mean sex on the beach.
Okay, that's my drink too. I love Sex on the Beach.
And that's where I'm in between that right now, because it's like I've been in the movie industry. I've been working as a camera operator, as a dolly grip. I did lighting, and then I do acting on this. I do acting too. You know what I mean? So the movie industry got very, very slow in Atlanta. I don't know if you are aware of it, but Tyler Perry's the only one, you know what I mean? But I was
Keeping it
working,
moving.
I did like different Marvel films I was working at as a grip. And it's like now it's like, man, should I just go get me a regular 9 to 5 because it's slow. Before I was getting a job as soon as I finished the show, I was jumping on another job. So it's depressing to me, man.
Well, don't let it be depressing. Let it be encouraging. Let it be you, being clear about your dream and what it is that you want to do and what you need to do in order to create your own and make it happen. Whether it's writing, directing, creating projects, learning AI, bro. Learn AI.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, absolutely.
AI.
Okay.
Yeah. AI. Learn it.
Absolutely.
That's the next frontier. As a matter of fact, it's a little late to get in the game, but it ain't too late. It ain't never too late. But just don't give up. Don't give up. But you do have to have a plan. And waiting for somebody to hire you is not the plan. That is not the game.
Okay.
Create your own. Maybe you don't see it right now, but you need to be around other people who think the same way.
That same mindset. Yeah.
The same mindset. You got to be around. You got to be around people. You got to create a culture of people. Because if you're around PTNNs, you ain't never gonna survive.
Say that again. Say that again. Yes.
You got to be around positive folk that just be, you got to create a space where art can occur.
Okay.
Right.
And that space has to be clean. It can't be no negativity. It can't be doubters. It can't be haters. You got to look at, this is one of the things you got to do is look at all the people in your universe and what is your exchange with each person. One of the things that I teach is who is on your bus. And when you think about who's on your bus, your immediate bus, you think about, your parents, your grandparents, your siblings, your family, your significant others, your friends, your neighborhood, your ethnicity, your gender, your job, your team, your mortgage, your animals, your children. All that's on your bus, right? And so what's your exchange with each of these people? There's 5 levels of exchange. There's criminal exchange, people who are stealing from you, people who are haters, people who don't want to see you win, even though they act like it. You got haters. People who are, the next level is people who are, unequal exchange. Unequal exchange. People, you give them 10, they give you 5 back. Equal exchange. I give you 10, you give me 10. Exchange in abundance. I give you 10, you give me 15. and ride or dies, meaning these people are part of who you are. They're an extension. I'm not necessarily talking about your brother, your sister. I'm just talking about your ride or dies. You got to identify each person. Haters, you got to get them. Those are the PTNNs. Get them off. I don't care who they are. I don't care who they are. Mother, father,
Okay,
sister,
family.
brother, I don't care. I don't care. It's not that you don't love them. It's just that you can't, look, I'm going to come for Christmas and I'll be there 15 minutes. Then I got to go.
I'm busy.
I'm busy. I'm busy. I'm busy. I'm busy. Because the stage is going to go down. So you got to identify each person and you got to handle each person and recognize who they are. And don't expect any more from them than you know. But the ones you want closest on your bus is you want the ride and die next to you. In the next row, you want the exchange and abundance, and then the equal exchange, and then the unequal exchange, and all the haters are gone.
Out of here. Absolutely.
Then you have a chance to survive.
Okay.
So let's talk about the Beauty in Black. So let's switch kind of gears. How did you get casted for Beauty in Black?
Well, I had done a number of things for Tyler. I did Colored Girls years ago. And then I did an episode of House of and then I got a audition for Divorce in the Black, but I told him, my agent, that make an offer and we'll do it.
Oh, okay.
They made a hell of an offer. And so I did it. And then he called and said, I got something for you and Debbie Morgan. And was Beauty in Black. And,
an offer you couldn't refuse.
The offer that I couldn't refuse, yeah. And as a result, you see it. It's the #1 show in the world.
Yes, it is.
Listen to this number. Listen to this number.
Let's go.
Up to this point, about 5 billion minutes viewed. That's about 500,000 hours. 5 billion minutes viewed.
And it's a great show.
A very good show.
Great show.
Man.
Yeah, it's definitely always a talk of
I wish
conversation I'm having.
I would have got a chance to work on it. I worked on All Queens Men, Divorced in the Black. I worked on Sisters, The Oval. I was all through there.
Okay. Well, too bad you didn't get into his program for creators.
What program?
He's been developing. He had a program where it was a creators program where you go in, he's teaching you how to be, on some level, a writer, a producer, a director in the business.
Well, I'll see about it. Like I said, I've been I took a little small fall back from working and gripping, but next time I'm working and I see Tyler, I'll ask him about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I just see Tyler every day.
Well, no, it ain't like that. It ain't like that. I'm not an actor. I'm just a grip. You feel me? But I've been working with him for like what? 4 years, so I didn't said hi and had conversations. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So the one thing that you have to do is decide who you are.
Well,
wait. Let me just tell you what I've been hearing. Right?
Okay.
you said earlier that, you know, I mean, I'm an actor, you know, I act on the side, but I grip. And now you grip, and now you're not an actor. So it's like you haven't identified what your dream is really. It sounds like, you know, that you trying to make it, and you need a job, as opposed to having a clear vision
Yeah.
about what is you really want, and let that be your GPS, and everything else supports that.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
And that's why we started this podcast. 'Cause it's like I'm still in the industry and I'm still doing what I love. You know what I mean? So
Right, right. But are you going after it like a pit bull with lockjaw?
Oh,
you said what? I'm
absolutely.
sorry.
Absolutely.
I said, are you going after it like a pit
Oh,
bull with
yeah, yeah.
lockjaw?
We've been consistent almost because we've been doing this podcast about 9 months now. So
Yeah.
we've been consistent. Our first, yeah, we've been consistent. You know what I mean? So yeah, we going hard, man. We going hard,
Okay, okay,
and it's only going to get better from here, man. You know what I'm saying? So
okay, okay.
yeah,
Absolutely.
you know, yeah, yes, sir, and you know, yeah. So, and then, he answered the question about the Beauty in Black, how he got casted, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's what we just
Okay.
talked about. Hmm.
Okay. So Charles, and he plays your nephew on the show.
Might be my son.
It might be okay. It might be. so
Oh.
y'all have a little crazy relationship on the show. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
How was your relationship with him off camera? Because you know he's from Detroit and he went to my high school as well.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Stephen is a wonderful person, man. He's really a wonderful person. He's a God-loving man, and he's a great soul. And he and his partner, you know, they have a wonderful relationship. You know, what's true for everybody in the cast is that we have a very tight relationship. Um, there's a lot of love that, you know, that's generated between all of us, and I appreciate them all. Me and Debbie, we have a very special relationship. Always have.
Hmm.
Uh, you know, when we're on the screen, and you can see it on screen because we have such great chemistry. You know, but I love them all, and remain we remain tight. We communicate frequently.
Okay.
Every day I'm in contact with somebody. You know,
Nice. Nice.
Terrell is a, I don't know if you know his story, but he's a, you know, he wrote a book called Problems, and it's an amazing book. He's an amazing singer, and he's just a good spirit. All of them, every one of them. Taylor, you know, Crystal plays Mallory.
Hmm.
My boy Malik, who's Jules. You know, everybody's just really wonderful.
That's
Yeah, it's one of the, and I've done a lot of things over the years, but I think the closest group that I've been associated with was uh, this group. Yeah.
Awesome.
and it seemed like a tight knit crew. Like when I watched the show, it seemed like a very tight knit crew. I
You can
see.
see the chemistry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why the show
Even
is
though,
doing so well. That's
yeah, even though everybody on it is diabolical, you know.
And then the same thing I told George, man. When I go to Tyler Perry Studios, right? Like I've been, like I said, I've been working in the movie industry, and when I'm working behind the camera and with the crew, most usually I'm like one black person out the crew, or there's one more other black person, and I'm usually the only. You know what I mean? So when I went to Tyler Perry's, I seen so many black people that just look like me and working with me, and I'm like, man, it's not like this outside of Tyler Perry's at all. Like, there'll probably be like a couple black people on the crew. You feel me? And
Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
You can imagine for me when I first got into business back in 1969, I walk on the set, and man, I would be like, man, where ain't no black people nowhere? You know what the hell? Now it's just like you say, you walk on a set, and 85, 90% or more of the people are black people, and I mean they hump it. They're doing that job. I mean, how they get through that work. Look, we shoot 100 pages a day.
Wow.
I was looking at something the other day, and the girl said, "Yes, I just finished shooting a vertical film. And man, I'm telling you, we had to shoot 12 pages a day." And she was saying, "Oh my God, can you believe that? 12 pages a day." I wanted to say, "Shut the fuck up. Try 100 pages a day."
That's light work, huh? Like, girl.
Shoot, we shot 12 pages before 9 o'clock.
Tyler Perry be on it. Hey, he'll shoot a whole film in like a week and a half.
Hey, we shot 8 episodes in 6 days. We shot 16 episodes in 13 days.
Wow.
He be on it. But see,
just to give you some reference, some point of reference, Coco, if we were shooting, I mean, first of all, an hour show is really 47 minutes because the rest of that is commercial time.
Commercials and stuff. Yeah.
And so it's like 47 minutes on network TV. It's 23 minutes if it's a half-hour show, and the rest of it is commercial, right? And so something like Grey's Anatomy, if they did 16 episodes, it would take them 6 months to do.
And give that to Tyler. He's doing it in how long?
13 days.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
That means you consume a lot of words.
But do you think sometimes you have to take a little longer on a show to bring out the greatness in
The
that
quality
show?
of it.
The quality and
No.
Okay.
I think you let me put it like this. It depends on your vision. It depends on the market you're selling to and what you're trying to sell. So Tyler is not trying to get an Emmy or an Oscar. He ain't trying to do no cool shots lit in a certain kind of way. His is a soap opera concept. His is just in terms of story. It's in terms of emotion. It's in terms of what's at stake. It's in terms of creating a hook and then a through line and then a cliffhanger. So at the end of the episode, you say, "What the fuck?"
And that's exactly what I be doing. Like,
what? He cut all those people up? What? Oh, he blew the house up? Oh my God.
Or he did what to her? Wait, no, he didn't do that. Yeah. He takes you through some turns. Yes.
Yeah. So that's his market. So he's doing for his market. Now, if you want to do some other stuff, and slow roll it and, in the traditional thing, then you design it differently. You know what I mean? But his is not like, he ain't got no clever, he got 5, you work, he has like 4 and 5 cameras. And the way he sets it up, he starts in the close-ups and then he works back out to the master. In regular filmmaking, you start with the master and work into the close-up. So
Mm.
he re-engineered filmmaking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But
What's
it's,
something that I'm sorry, I want to ask you another question. What's something about success that people don't talk about enough that you think?
most people see the end result. They don't see the process.
Right. A lot of people, you're right. Yeah. It's always
They
the
don't
end
see the
result. I want
process.
to be that person. I want to do that, but you don't know what it is, but it took to get to that position or where they are. You do see that a lot.
No.
Yes.
Look,
Mm-hmm.
people see they see the end result of Norman, but they don't see the 1,500 hours I put into creation, into preparation.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Right.
1,500 hours. Get up in the morning, working on my script. Eat breakfast, working on my script. On the way to the studio, working on the script. In the car,
Mm-hmm.
working on the script. Going to the gym, working on the script. In at lunch, working on the script.
That's good.
You know, going to lunch in this thing, working on the script. Driving home,
Mm.
working on the script. It's like I'm working on the thing, and I got tunnel vision. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean?
All the
And
extracurriculars, you're not attending, can just focus on
no,
what it is you need to focus on. Yeah.
I
That
focus on
goal.
what I'm focused on, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and if you look in terms of like a career, if you could, well, I can't bring my board over here, but I have two whiteboards that's 4 by 8. One is on both sides. I can turn it around because it's on wheels, and the other one is on the wall.
Mm-hmm.
You can see my entire career because it's written out, planned
A
out.
plan.
You know that everything because I'm working on 6 different projects, and they all demand absolute attention. So when you say, "Well, what are you doing this weekend?" Shit, I'm sitting right here at my desk figuring it.
That part.
Yeah, I gotta
Mm-hmm.
plan it. I gotta
Mm-hmm.
write it. I gotta work on it. You know what I mean? And I love it. So it's not like, woe is me. It's like, yo, it's me. You know?
This is what I want to be. Yeah. So what it takes
This
to
is
be
where I want
successful.
to be. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm grinding, and then then I have my excesses, but
Right.
I wish I had my tequila bottle to show you.
I
I don't have it.
know.
I don't
What's
have
the
it with
name
me,
of it?
but
What's the name of the tequila?
Don Anastasia right now. But I'm gonna create my own label,
Okay.
and I don't want to say what it is because I don't want to have to go.
Right. Right. But you are gonna be
I don't want to have to go and perform Rezani on somebody. You know what Rezani is?
No, I was about to say perform what?
It's taking my straight razor and saying,
No, we don't want to see that. We don't want to see that because then next we're gonna be wearing free Richard Lawson shirts.
Man, no,
No.
Free Richard,
Where's the
somebody.
tequila? We trying to see the tequila, man.
Hey, look, it's all the way downstairs.
Oh,
And,
okay,
you know,
it's all
Okay.
good. It's all well.
Okay.
Maybe next time if you in Atlanta, you can come by the studio and show it
Yes.
off too.
I'll
Yes.
bring it with me.
Yeah,
I'll
Yes.
bring it with
please
me.
Yes.
do.
Yes. You have to.
Hey,
Yes.
let me just say this. I've done my own private taste test,
Yeah.
and I have like Casa Azul, 1942, really top notch Patron, even, man, I don't see how people drink Patron.
I don't
That,
either. I don't.
they sold that shit to black folks. I swear to God, it's like they did a good job of selling Patron. I mean, to black folks, because that's mostly. I haven't seen a white person drink Patron,
You know
except
what?
maybe
Yeah.
in margarita.
Anything
But
that's a little expensive and got a name, black folks want it.
they look. But this here, the blind taste test, my tequila always wins.
Okay.
So smooth.
Can't
You
wait
can
to
drink.
taste it.
You
Okay.
can
I love
drink.
us.
You can drink 6, 7 shots, and you're not like you ain't gonna wake up the next day regretting nothing.
So what's it called?
Really?
What's your
Okay.
liquor called?
He doesn't have it
Don
yet.
Anastasia is
Oh, Donna.
what the
Okay.
name is. Don Anastasia is the name of it right now. but I'm going to create my own label. That's maybe a year from now, and I can't say the name of it, but it's like a really cool. It's a really cool co-branding, meaning that it's built on having class and ethics and having a standard, being a solid person, being resilient, strong, principled
Okay.
person. And so, somebody who believes that will love this smooth, sophisticated, upscale tequila.
A sophisticated crowd. That's going to be your
Yeah,
market.
yeah.
Okay.
Plus, if you try to lose weight, you know that you need to drink tequila neat.
Tequila.
Because an ounce of tequila only has 70 calories, where a glass of wine has 350.
Oh man.
Look, I just sip my
Tequila healthier than
water.
the wine I'm drinking.
Oh, look at that! Look at
We gonna have to try that tequila, man. I'm
Yes,
excited.
I
Yeah,
can't
we
wait.
gonna have to
Yeah.
take a shot of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
So when people are trying to get into the liquor game, how can they get their own liquor? They got to go to a probably not a brewery, but what is it?
Well, how I came about it is that my friend who's in the rag business, his company leases this big factory. He used to be with Seven Jeans, and Seven
Okay.
Jeans was big at one point.
Yes, I have.
But then he
it.
went from Seven Jeans to another company just as big, and it's a rag business, right? And they leased this huge warehouse. And the guy Juan, who Jose owns a bunch of those kind of buildings. And he went to my friend Les and he said, "Man, I need a celebrity because I have this tequila. Me and my cousin, and they have a distillery in Mexico, in Guadalajara, and they're looking for somebody to be the face of the company." He said, "I got just the guy for you." And so we met and we talked and struck it on immediately. And so we've been talking and trying to figure out. I have a whole concept about how I want to market it, especially right now. This is a lot of eyeballs on me. With all the people who are Beauty and Black, so it's like perfect timing. It's like the perfect song.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, what you got?
Absolutely.
Are you an actress?
I am. Yes, I do some acting as well. Yes.
Are you studying?
I have been studying, yes, but I gotta.
You should come and study with me.
Hey, I'm there. Just let me know.
See,
I'm all for
look,
it.
it says dreams don't have expiration dates.
Don't have expiration. That's right. You can start when you're gonna get started.
Richard Lawson Studios, just Google.
Yeah. Okay. That's what I was gonna ask you too. So yeah, I will Google that and see.
Just come.
People get started.
Just come and be a guest. Just come and be a guest.
I would love
tomorrow night at 6. Come tomorrow night at 6.
Look, Richard.
Is you going? That's your chance.
I know, right? Like tomorrow is 6. Look.
It ain't gonna cost you a thing.
Yeah.
But some time and a good time.
Right. Tomorrow we gotta plan it. Maybe next week or something. I definitely want to do it. I'm there. But I could have a lot on my plate right now.
Everybody got a lot on their plate. You want to get something done, give it to a busy person. You don't give it to somebody that ain't got shit to do. That's not who you want to give it to. You want to give it to somebody who's like, shit, well, let me see what I can move around.
Hey, I'm gonna Google it and I'm gonna definitely
we
gonna work it out.
I'll give you. You ain't gotta Google nothing. I'll give you the email for you to reach out today.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm on it.
Assistant.
Now this is being recorded. Okay.
That one, yeah,
That's
let anybody. Assistant
uh-huh.
at richardlawsonstudios.com.
Oh, okay. Lawson
Good, just yeah,
Studio.
send them an email, and then
Okay.
they'll
Hook it up, get everything
And then
going.
you might be on the next Tyler Perry television
Right.
show or movie. You feel me? Hopefully. You feel
I'm gonna be
she'll
in the
be in.
Richard Lawson's
There you
movie. We
go.
getting that started. That's what we doing.
you feel,
She,
yeah.
she gonna be in my vertical.
Okay. Hey, and I'm gonna be bragging about it. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely,
I see y'all
absolutely.
out here. Yes,
But
yes,
awesome, yeah, I'll
sir.
definitely look into that. But we do know, okay, that you started or you played in Poltergeist. That was
Mhm.
part of your history as well. That's one
Yeah,
of my favorite movies. That's my childhood movie right there.
really.
Yes, it is. And when he said, "Oh, we got Richard," I'm like, "You're kidding! Oh my goodness!" But yeah, that was one of my favorites. So,
Mhm.
how was it being on Poltergeist? Was it good,
Yeah,
bad?
it was no, it was so much fun. First of all, Steven Spielberg saw me in a play, and in that play, I killed in that play. Um, that play changed my career. Anyway, after opening night, after the play was over, and I came out, I heard I was talking to Jack Palance, actor you may remember, and over my shoulder, I heard somebody say, "See, Stephen, he's not like the character." And I turned around, and it was Steven Spielberg and Amy Irving, which is his first wife, and
Mm.
he says, "Man," he said, "that was the most frightening performance I've ever seen in my life." He said, "I really did not. I killed two. My character kills two people in the play." And he says, "I really did not want to meet you because I I could have sworn that anybody capable of playing that part has to be like this character.
Cassie.
You're nothing like the character, right?"
Mhm.
So and then like maybe 6 years later, I get cast in Poltergeist. And it was an amazing experience working with Stephen and the rest of the cast members on that film because he's such a genius in the way he worked. I learned so much
Yeah,
of just
yeah.
amazing working with him.
I can only
Um,
imagine.
Post the film, um, they said that the film had a spell on it because the girl who played the little girl died
Caroline?
from
Caroline?
Carol Ann died, yeah.
Oh,
And then the girl that played the older sister, she died. She got killed by her boyfriend.
oh,
Boyfriend
wow.
beat her with a bat.
Wow.
And then I almost died in a plane crash.
I do,
And
We
yeah.
were going to get into that too, but yeah,
Yeah,
keep
we were,
going, keep going, keep
yeah.
going.
and then the girl who played Tangina, the little lady,
Uh-huh.
she died.
Mm.
Richard, you are kidding.
And
Wow.
that's
That
something
was
called the poltergeist curse, right?
curse.
Yeah, they trying to. People were saying it was a curse over the
That is
production.
really insane. Wow. That's when I
Yeah,
first got
So
introduced to
do
scary
you think
movies.
it's
Was
a
that?
curse?
no, no, I don't think it's a curse.
No.
I'm not buying that. I'm not inhaling that. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
Okay.
Because curses don't necessarily have an expiration date either. So I'm not. I rebuke all of that. You know what I
Okay.
mean? I
Oh
was
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I was able to make it through that plane crash, and I'm here. So I'm good. But Beatrice Straight, the woman who played the lady who was the professor that I came in with her and this other character came in with her to clean the house. She passed away. So it's like there's a lot of
Wow.
deaths around that film.
Man,
Jeez.
can you explain kind of the plane crash, if you mind? I know it's probably something traumatizing, but would you mind kind of explaining like
It's
how?
not.
Oh,
It's not.
okay.
I mean,
I
I'm
want to
past
know.
it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So after Poltergeist, what happened? You're taking a plane. This is a private or you're a commercial?
No, the Poltergeist we shot in the 80s.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
In the plane crashes in 1992 at LaGuardia Airport, and I was doing all my children at the time, and I was also running the drug program for the National Basketball Association. So it was a
Ah.
Sunday night, and I was taking a flight to Cleveland to meet with the Cleveland Cavaliers the next day, and a snowstorm hit while I was at the airport or on the way to the airport.
Mm-hmm.
So there was cancellation, and they never canceled my flight. But the plane crashed because there was ice on the wings, and the ice on the wings affected the weight of the
Of the plane.
plane.
Oh, the aircraft.
And
Yeah. Okay.
so therefore, when he took off, he wasn't going fast enough to be able to compensate for the weight of the plane. It needed a certain kind of energy in order
Mm-hmm.
to be able to lift
The
off.
plane.
And and I knew that the plane was going to crash before I even got on the plane, and my spirit told me that.
You're kidding.
What?
And you still got on?
Yeah, I listened to my weakness.
Mm-hmm.
I was
Mm-hmm.
going. I was going to meet a woman in Cleveland. So
Mm-hmm. You were
I have
determined. Okay, so.
I have this spiritual. I have this spiritual part of me that I call Richard, and then I have this other part of me that I call Tricky Dick. So Richard, Richard is my spiritual guidance. That's my voice that says, "Hey, don't get on the plane." Do
Uh-huh.
not
Uh-huh.
get on the plane. And Tricky Dick will say, "Man, shut up, man. We going to Cleveland, man. Shit. That
You know
fine
what's
ass woman in
funny?
Cleveland, we ain't giving that. Just don't forget how big that booty is."
Real shit. We gonna take an we all been there.
Right. Oh my gosh.
Those are my two compadres, and so I fight my spiritual self, and I fight, that part of me that loves the flame, the moth to the flame. I love the
Mhm.
slippery slope, but it's also the creative part of me. It's this. That's that's the
Yeah.
person you want to play part of because it's a lot of fun.
Okay. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
God had you covered though. So the
God,
plane. So what happened? The plane wasn't able to go as fast as it needed to go, and then it ended up. Did it
it,
collide with another plane?
no, it crashed on takeoff, and we wound up upside down underwater. I wound up upside down underwater, trapped in my seat.
You are kidding
So
me.
so what, you had to bust out a window to get out? Like,
No,
No,
you busted out a
the
window.
crashing of the plane tore the plane in half, and it ripped the sides of the plane open. And so when I got out of my seatbelt and stood up, I was standing in water, and I was able to get out the side of the plane.
Oh
But
wow.
I don't know,
Did you actually, did you use the seat as a floaty? But does that actually work? Did you use it
no,
as they
because I
teach you
didn't.
when you're
Yeah, I didn't. I wasn't in open water. I was inside the plane.
inside of the plane
So
already?
yeah,
yeah,
so it's
he
like
was inside, yeah.
if this was the plane and this was the rest of the plane here,
Uh-huh.
the plane was sheared off in half, and I was up in this part of the plane. If this was the top of the plane, I was sitting here, but the plane was upside down, so I was upside down underwater,
Yeah.
trapped in
Oh
my
my.
seat. And then when
Oh.
I came out the side because the plane, the skin of the plane had been ripped off.
So other
Wow.
people passed, didn't they?
27 people.
You really lost their lives from that?
Yeah.
Wow.
24 people live, 27 people passed away.
Wow. Yikes. You
You seen
definitely,
it. You didn't seen it all, man. I know nothing
yes.
surprised you. You be like,
I,
hey.
I've had a hell of a life. I'll tell you that. I'm blessed.
Shit,
I'm
I
blessed to
see.
get life that
Truly
I've
blessed.
met the people that I've met, loved the people that I loved, and apologize to the people that loved me that didn't work out so well. But it's all good.
Mm-hmm.
All
Mm-hmm.
right.
A lot of life to
Wow.
be lived.
Coco.
Um, so I'm just gonna get to this question. I have to ask because it's just a burning question. I know the world just wants to know. So I know there's a lot of conversation about Tina Knowles and her cooking. Has she ever have you had like personal experience with her food, good or bad?
Listen, she made the best gumbo that I've ever had.
Okay, okay. The best you ever
Yeah,
had. He
yeah.
said it here.
She was the best gumbo that I've ever had. Now,
Okay.
gumbo, making it in large amounts for people at a thing is a whole different ball game.
Ball
You're
game,
not in
right.
the kitchen, you whatever. It sits up. It's got crab in it. It's easier to spoil. You don't have making it in the kitchen is one thing, but making it out there is another.
Another thing.
Okay,
Okay.
because
I see these minds out there where it's like there was a picture of me on the floor after Jules hits me in the throat and I'm grabbing my throat and somebody said, that's
Are you serious? So let the world know that's not true. That is not
It's
true.
that's
not
That
not
did
true.
not happen.
That's not true.
but the reason people think it is because it's something about a multi-millionaire to me that just seems like they can't cook. I don't know, you
Oh
know what I
no. Let me tell you
mean?
something. It's well known. Her food is well known. She
Okay.
cooks
Yeah.
her ass off. She cooks
Okay.
her
Really?
ass
Yeah,
off.
I've heard.
Right?
I've heard. Okay.
Yeah, no, she can cook. She can
Okay.
cook. Mhm.
Okay. I wonder can Beyonce cook? I wonder. You know what I mean? I don't
No
know.
comment.
Okay. All right. So where did y'all
You
where
know,
did
Beyonce don't have to cook. Beyonce got 2, 3 cooks.
Cooks,
You
that's
right?
what
know,
I'm
She
saying?
does.
It
I
looked
heard
like
she
it
that.
looked
got
like
she
these
got
multi
cooks that have she got cooks everywhere. She don't need to cook.
Oh, okay.
I
Yeah,
bet
because it
you
seems
she
like these
does.
rich people don't have to, you know what I mean? Like, I don't need to cook. I got cooks. You know what I
You
mean?
got cooks.
A
If you
cook
got
for the
cooks, why
cook.
would you cook? Some people like to cook.
Okay.
Right,
And some
right.
people don't need to cook.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
So
A chef.
where did you meet Tina Knowles?
I've been knowing Tina for 40 years, man. Tina was my sister's best friend. I
Oh,
met Tina in 1980. So
before
we
her
were friends.
babies.
We were friends for all that time, and then we lost track of each other when Beyonce's career jumped off, and then we reconnected.
Mm.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what's up. Okay. So like she was a great friend of yours, correct?
yeah.
Okay, so looking back, do you think like basically a 40-year friendship did it make when you guys kind of split up? Did it make it harder for you to split up, or was it easier for you to split up since you had that friendship?
Now you could when you have a friendship and and the other dynamic comes in, in terms of like you go past the friend zone, then other dynamics come in. It's very challenging for people who I'll put it to you like this. Anytime you get together, I don't care whether it's friends or not, friends,
Hmm.
it's but you know, you meet people and what you don't realize and you don't see because they're somewhat invisible is all the luggage that's behind them. all the life that is behind them in the luggage that you know, for me, the Louis Vuitton luggage that's behind me and the luggage that's behind her history. Unless you unpack all of that history before you connect, then it will unpack itself as you
Eventually.
go forward. And then now you're dealing with things that is like,
But as being a friend, don't you kind of unpack that? Because I'm their friend. Like I knew this, this happened. I knew all,
There are
So you
levels
kind
of
of-
friendship. There are levels of friendship.
Yeah.
There's, somebody who's there's different levels and standards of friendship. Somebody who's your best friend, you know what I mean? Somebody who knows everything about you. Is one level of friend, unconditional friendship. That's one thing. Friendship is another thing where you like the person, but y'all didn't get into politics and you didn't get into economics and it depends on what you didn't get into. Because whatever you didn't get into before will rear its head in the middle of it. And sometimes it'll be like, I don't know. I didn't expect that.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, we is exactly where we should be. I'm happy for her. And I hope that she's happy for me. Because where I'm at in life, I wouldn't trade it for nothing. And where she's at in life, I'm sure she wouldn't trade it either. I'm happy as a pig and shit.
Absolutely. For couples trying to get married, do you recommend doing counseling? Would you?
Absolutely.
He's screaming from the top of the mountain.
Absolutely. Because what you don't deal with before, you're going to deal with it after or during. And it may be, you might be surprised at how it looks once you see it for what it really is. It's like, what? Wait, what? You know how a dog be saying, what? Damn, what the fuck? What? Wait.
Richard. Absolutely, though. I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
So, are you married?
No, I'm not married. No.
Have you ever been married?
I've never been married. No, but I've been in some
You ever
relationships.
been close to married?
I mean, I've just been proposed to. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
You married, Silas?
No, I'm gonna be married soon though. One day, hopefully. You know what I mean?
Okay, all right. Well, good luck.
You know what I'm saying? Hopefully. You know what I mean?
Good luck.
No, marriage.
Hey, look, I wouldn't wish me on nobody.
You wouldn't wish you on nobody.
No.
What do you?
What do you mean?
Because my life.
Unpack that.
Yeah. What do you mean by that?
Well, first of all, my life is very challenging. As hard as I'm working right now, time-wise, and and just the whole luggage thing in terms of, and then the history of me being in the business and and the reputation in regards to, which is blown way the fuck out of proportion in terms of like, people think I'm a player and they think I'm a ladies man and they think all that shit, and it's like, not true. Some stories may be true, but they only know the surface of it. But they think they think I'm a lot of things that's just based upon hearsay, reputation, third party. I don't bother to chase shit down. I don't deny and I don't reply. And so people stay out there. But it's difficult for the average woman to have a relationship with me because we go places. The amount of women who come, I teach, and most of those are women. It was hard unless a woman is absolutely secure to come into my universe and be comfortable. And I don't care what you do to make her comfortable, I can't take away her life's experience in that way. You know what I mean? If she's in a failed relationship or ever, man, anybody's ever fucked around with her, then, it looks like a duck. It's like,
Do you find it easier to maybe date someone that's in the industry versus not someone that's in the industry?
That doesn't really matter. What I need is date, the only people that I can really deal with is somebody who is secure themselves and have their own career, their own life. They don't have I'm attracted to powerful people. And so therefore, we have equally a lot to lose if we don't play it straight. Yeah, but I'm a hell of a
equally yoked.
Equally yoked.
Right. And I wanted to ask like two more questions before we end that topic, though. But how did your relationship end with Tina, if you mind us asking?
Nah, I don't want to deal with that.
Okay, all right. Well, okay. Well,
we go.
Okay, all right. Well, do you guys still have the Waco Theater Center?
No, she has that.
Okay.
Oh, she still has that.
But I thought, did you guys start that together?
We did. We co-created it.
So why? What was the reason to start the Waco Theater?
Well, we both the thing that attracted us to each other was the fact that we both have always been of service to others.
Yeah,
I've always admired how many people she helped. And I've helped thousands of people over the years, and she has too. And so when we mentored 100 people, 100 kids, they would come to our program at the age of 12, 13. And now, there are kids who are graduating college and are actors and directors and writers and singers and poetess, and they're in all walks of life because we were great mentors to them. And I'm very proud of that. And so we mentored a lot of folks and helped to realize the dreams of a lot of people. And that's what we have in common, and that's why we created this place called Waco, where art can occur, which is something that I originated in my teaching 30 years ago. And so, I sort of borrowed that name for the name of the foundation. And so, when we split, the board had to make a decision about which way to go with it. And
so you let her keep that business.
Yeah.
All right.
Awesome.
One more thing, and we're gonna be off because I know you keep talking about Tina. But one more thing. How do you feel about the things 50 Cent said about her? Do you
what
know?
Did he say? I don't know what he said.
Oh, okay. All right. Well,
he's a troll, so
yeah.
So
he's big time troll.
50 Cent got into it with T.I. T.I. Basically they got into it. So 50 Cent posted a picture of T.I.'s wife, Tiny, and it's a
unpleasant picture.
That was unpleasant picture. It was disrespectful, and then Tina Knowles came to bat for her and said something about respect, Tiny, and then
she posted a beautiful picture of Tiny and just paid her respect and let everybody know that she is this beautiful woman, family woman that she is. And then of course 50 being the troll that he is, he said some nasty things about her.
Called her a B word. So
hey, you know what? I didn't know what to say about that. What I can say is that is that, you know, Tina is a great defender. She will jump up and defend somebody in a minute.
As she
You
did.
know, and that's what she does. And I have a respect for somebody who will support people that she believes in, and she's always been like that. Sometimes, you know, she will draw a lot of attention from her choices, and that's just who she is. God bless her. You know, but I don't pay no attention. Listen, one thing about it is that when you're in this business and you've been in it as long as I have, and you're on a platform of some kind, there's an automatic target on your back. You know what I mean? And if you don't have no haters, then you're doing something wrong.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And you gotta have tough skin, right? Your skin has to be tough to be in this business for this long, right?
You gotta know who you are, and you can't take nothing personal.
You gotta have tough
Nothing
skin.
personal.
But we gotta have tough skin. But why do our people gotta be the only ones to say negative shit about each other? These white folks ain't out here talking bad about each other and all in the comments like, oh, this person is, it's our people. You feel me?
Well, you know, yeah, I do feel you, and I know exactly what you're talking about. I've been the recipient of it. I mean, if you saw and listened to anything during the divorce, I mean, hours after it was announced, it was endless. If you go on Google and put in Richard Lawson and Tina Knowles, plethora of stuff, accusations. I'm, you know, 2 hours after the divorce was announced, you know, Richard Lawson, Beyonce Knowles' father, stepdaddy, caught liking porn and the kind of porn he was liking. Yo,
Oh
hey,
my
look,
gosh.
I don't know anybody over 40 who knows more about technology than I do. I have always been, I was one of the first people on Zoom. You don't think I know better than to raise my hand, because when you like something, it's like saying, hey, look at this shit I like. Look, that I'm going to go around in the world and say, hey, look at these clips that I like. And it's like, come on, man. You got to know that I was hacked. Ain't no way in the hell with the people that's in my life that I'm going to raise my hand and say, come look at this stuff. But it's like, you know, this is one of the few times I even mentioned. But, you know, between that and robbing the house and this and that, it's going to come. And you just got to understand, I ain't taking it personal. Somebody's trying to make some money out there. You know?
Richard Lawson,
They better watch what they say, though. You can't be spreading false rumors about people.
Ain't nothing wrong with liking a big booty picture. Now you can like a big booty picture.
Look, ain't nothing wrong with liking it, but I know enough that I'm not going to offer that and let people come and troll me about some shit. They're going to troll it anyway. I ain't going to add to the flame. I'm not going to put no lighting fluid on the flame.
Right. Oh, he's liking.
You gotta be confident, Richard, with that big booty. I did it, and yes, I like it.
No, see, no.
Hey, look.
Social media tear him up. He say that.
What were you gonna say, Richard?
Especially Black Twitter.
Ask any big booty I've been with, and they'll tell you about my confidence. They're gonna say, yo, nigga, how old are you? You lying? Wait, what the? No way in hell. No way in hell. You that age doing this.
You just a blessing all around. Okay.
Yeah, we got a couple more for you too. We got a couple more for you too with Mr. Richard Lawson. So what you got for him, Coco Keish?
I mean, the only question I think is just kind of going back to, I think, kind of what we talked about. Like, what's something, I guess, that about Hollywood that you had to learn like the hard way, do you think?
the hard way, you know, I mean, I was prepared for the hard way from the beginning, so nothing could be thrown at me to be thrown me off, you know. But because
Yeah.
I've been through everything you can imagine, you know, between
Yeah, you done been
trolling,
through.
the
Look.
interactions, the experiences, you know, none of that shit threw me off. It's like,
Mhm.
you know, just process, pivot, and proceed. And, you know, it's just in terms of how you process it. You know, I can't control what they say, but I can control how I react to
How you react to it, exactly. That
it.
goes for everybody. Yes, control how you
Yeah,
react to it. Do you think there's a role out there that changed you? Is there? I'm sure there's a specific role that
they
you think
all
that
have.
they all have, really.
They all have. Yeah, because once you get into the minutia of the character and stuff, then there's something about each individual that I played that taught me something, you know, gave me something that I learned something about myself, or you
Mm-hmm.
or I've grown from it. Because what you do is I'm sharing, I'm borrowing part of my soul to this character that I'm playing, and I learned something about that person that I've used in my own life. So it's like
Mm-hmm.
it's a give and take.
Right. Gotcha.
Mhm.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's all I have for you.
Okay. Well, what's how do you handle setbacks without letting them define you?
Clarity of your own direction, and you know, a setback is not a setback; it's a reroute.
Okay.
So I don't get set back; I just reroute.
Okay.
You know, you're driving along and shit, and you come into the China Wall, and you say, "Damn!"
Hold up.
And you look to the left, and you look to the right. And it's 3,000 miles that way to go around, and it's 2,000 miles that way to go around. And it's like, okay, well, who do I know with a helicopter or a
Yeah.
hot air balloon, or a plane? Who do I know that can tunnel? Who do I know with dynamite? How can I scale this wall? Well, I need to go around it, so I got to act like Hannibal. I need some elephants to go around these 3,000 miles. That I'm figuring it out. You know what I mean? I'm not sitting there bemoaning my fate. So it's like a reroute. It's a reroute.
Okay.
I do got one more question. Who do you think is the most underrated actor out here? Who would you say?
The most, a number of them. A number of them.
Number of them.
Mhm.
Let's top 5, top 3. Let's go.
mm, um, I think my daughter should have gotten more kudos than she did.
Oh, and we wanted because she was on Saved by the Bell too, right?
Yeah, she was on Saved by the Bell. She was on Queen Sugar, but she's an incredible, incredible actress.
Right, right, right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, what's his name? Played Devil in the Blue Dress. Uh, dang.
That was
Devil in the
Denzel, wasn't it?
Hmm?
That was Denzel was in that, wasn't he?
Not Denzel. I don't think Denzel's underrated.
That was in the blue dress. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Devil in the
Um,
Blue Dress. Yeah, Denzel was in that. Yeah.
yeah, but who else was in that? Who was the? Um,
Wow, you know how young I was when that came out. When I came out in the early
Tom, what you
hey
got?
'90s.
Siri,
Tom,
who
yeah,
was in
Tom
Devil in the Blue
Sizemore,
Dress?
Jennifer Beals, Don Cheadle.
Don Cheadle.
Mary Don Cheadle. Mm-hmm.
Don Cheadle. Don Cheadle. You know, I think he deserved more kudos than he gets.
Woo, 1995. I was so young. Boy, I remember.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
baby. So your daughter
That's
Don
okay.
Cheadle was the third
That's all
person
I
that
can
you think
think
is
of right
underrated.
now.
Like, yeah.
He probably don't want to answer this one, but who do you think is overrated?
Let's see. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
So for a man that's been acting since you know basically the '60s, since '69, how do you feel about? Do you think Tupac was a good actor, and do you think he would have been a great actor?
I think he would have been. I think he would have been just because he had a lot of spirit. He had a lot of, you know, he had a lot of passion and the right role. You just have to find the right role for somebody.
Okay.
You know, everybody can't play everything. You know what I mean?
Right.
I think somebody said, "Can you teach anybody how to act?" Yes, I can, because I don't try to find people. I don't try to find. You find the right role, because if you look at what someone look at you, if you start where they are. So somebody comes into the acting and um, they worked in a factory and they were a foreman and they managed people. They were the boss of people. They could hire, you know, they ran a tight ship. So you find a part where those qualities need to exist. That person knows exactly how to play that part. You don't get them to go and play Hamlet or something like that. You start where they are and work out from there. You know, they can tell you how that's supposed to go. And so just build from that. So I can teach anybody how to act. I don't try to get them to act outside of their truth.
I'm probably gonna get on your acting class, man. I wanna shoot. I wanna take it as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, one more question. You got something?
All right, then that's it, because I gotta go.
Yeah, you got something before we end, Keisha?
No, I don't.
Okay, one more question. What's the craziest thing you've seen in Hollywood? We're gonna end it like that.
Craziest thing I see in Hollywood.
Yeah. Either if it's at parties or whatever.
I see people trying to have a career and they don't have no clue about why they're doing this. They just are chasing fame. And so they chase stuff and they're trying to chase a bag rather than a purpose. Now that is the most asinine thing, because that means that you're going to go wherever you think you can make some money, and you wind up thinking that you're going you know, the hunter gets captured by the game.
Right. That's why I see people that are not happy.
Yeah, because you're trying to get rich, you're trying to make some money. You just see, you know, people. You know, it's a funny thing when you make money, you gotta. It's hard to maintain it and keep that same level.
Right. That was a good question. I was hoping he'll say something like, I was at a party and I seen two midgets coming out of a room and Dennis Rodman was chasing them with fucking
He was at a Diddy party. I was waiting to hear, was it a Diddy party you were at? Wait. Tell me more.
No, I ain't never went to no Diddy party.
Okay. Is Jay-Z cool? He seemed real serious. Is he a laughing kind of guy?
He's one of the funniest guys you'll ever meet. And
I would take that.
That's dope. He just seems serious.
He's one of the most solid people that you'll ever meet. I have mad love for Jay-Z.
Okay.
Yeah. He seems like a jokester.
I have mad love because you know he's really a solid. You know, the one thing you can say about Jay-Z is that all the people who were with him in the Marcy Projects are still with him.
Yeah.
You know, that's real solid person. Yeah.
And that tells you everything you need to know. He's still all his boys, because there's people that can definitely say to him, you know, man, fuck you. If
So
you ain't
true.
got nobody around you that can say "fuck you" without it being, something else, but it's just gonna call you on your shit.
Yeah, you need that. You need that.
That's
Yeah.
what's up. That's what's up, man. So all
Yeah.
right. So
All
you
right.
got anything to say before we get out of here? Where can they find you, and where can they find your Instagram? Where can they anything new coming
Well,
out before we
right
get
here
out
on
of
the
here?
screen, right here on the screen, it says Richard Lawson Studios, Substack.com. You can find me on Substack. You can go to Richard Lawson Studios, Google it. You can, if you Google me, my name will come up a bunch of times. On IG is at Mr. Richard Lawson. You can go to buy my book. We didn't talk about that. Buy my book,
No.
the Artist Roadmap, which is on Google.
Okay.
You can go to uh, if you Google also my audio book, you'll be able to find that. That's a hell of a listen. If you just Google me, everything I'm doing will come up.
All right.
Awesome.
All right.
Awesome.
Well,
And go watch The Beauty in Black. I know you're already
go
going
watch
over. Make
Beauty
sure
in
you watch
Black.
it.
Go watch Beauty in Black. Yeah, let's make sure you tune in to season 3 so you can see who I get.
Ooh.
I can't
Season
wait.
3
I
coming
can't
soon,
wait.
man.
And I can't
And,
wait.
and we out here, man. The Poe Report podcast. We have Richard Lawson in the building. And thank you so
Yeah,
much for coming out. And we out, baby.
we out.
Thanks.
Coco, I will see you on Thursday.
Yep.
Absolutely. I got the email.
All right.
Look out for it. All right.
Hi.
Okay.
Bye.
All right. Peace out.
See ya.